Hello there, welcome back to the Palworld series. So last time, we got this mining base set up, which is really neat. Still has a little bit of work to do here, we don't really have all the Anubises that we'd like. But it seems to be running pretty well. If we take a look at what we've gotten so far, there's a decent chunk of ore here, which is great. The game is all updated to 1.4, which allows you to kind of walk slowly around like this, while over encumbered, which is amazing. But yeah, the mining base has been built, and that's going to make life a lot simpler. It's going to make the production of pal spheres a lot simpler as well. Now, we also went ahead and built this main base for production, which honestly I am pretty happy with. But currently what we are going to be lacking, I think, for pal sphere production is actually going to be stone, and we can have a quick look at it right here. So we're going to be lacking paldium, and we're going to be lacking stone. We have a tremendous amount of wood. So what I'm thinking is that we're going to take the Anubi that we have available to us. Let's just sort by Paldeck so we can find them easier. And we're going to put them in here and get them to work in the mines. That's going to be more beneficial. Also, we do have some eggs upstairs that we're going to go hatch. And we're going to be switching out the Vanbum that we have had with one that is slightly quicker with Swift and Runner. So we're still going to be looking for the Phalaris. We have base ones here, but we need some, well, better ones. And the goal is going to be to level up today to the point where we can actually go ahead and kind of use them. But yeah, I think we've done well so far in terms of progression. We are going to keep on making Paldium fragments because we're going to kind of have to. But we have gotten to a point right now where we can start making some Gigaspheres, Paldium fragments, and stone are going to probably be the two things that are going to be limiting us the most when it comes to this. But I think we can get things up and running here, and we even have a bunch of refined ingots waiting for us. Now, last time we managed to level up to 36, so we wanted to level up to 38. So what I am thinking is that, as I said, we're going to use those Gigaspheres to level up, but we're also going to go ahead and start hunting for some more pals that would have basically hunting for better breeder pals for Anubis, better breeder pals for Phalaris by proxy, and generally just get ourselves a few better base pals, if you will, that will be more efficient at their work. We also unlocked a single shot rifle and its ammo, high quality clothing, which is needed for large pal beds, and we need large pal beds for our current mission. But honestly, I'm not going to stress about that. Because the way that it works is that once we reach level 15 for a base, there's actually nothing else we can do unless you manually up the maximum pals working at base. You can actually up this to 20 in the settings. We have kept it at normal. But yeah, looks like we're going to have a fairly productive day. The goal today is just going to be to, again, capture better pals for well, better traded pals, I guess I should say, for base production. And also to hopefully get a little bit of leveling going. Another Swift Runner Vanbum. We're going to have to go and have a look and see if that one is female. Because if I remember correctly, what we need is a female Vanbum to combine with our current Swift Anubis. So we'll have to see. But yeah, it is looking good so far. And we are actually leveling up a little bit here by Capris and other pals that we are incubating. So this isn't too bad. Arsox, a fairly decent early game fire pal. But yeah, so far it is looking very good here. And we do have a bunch of Anubi, some large verdant eggs cooking. So honestly, we're going to get these going as we are. But yeah, I'd say we're looking at a pretty decent situation at the moment. I might go ahead and expand the outer walls a little bit. I might go ahead and change one setting in the game setting, and that would be to expand the base a little bit. As you can see here, this Battalia is kind of confused because they end up on the wrong side of this one, so I need to move the stone pit probably a little bit to make life a little bit simpler. Because basically, they don't see this space as enough to walk around, or, you know, move one of the wheat fields to this location right here, and that can work too. And as you can see, Patalia is immediately back to the old shenanigans there, so let's just go ahead and get that fixed. But yeah, do keep in mind that base pathing can be kind of wonky, so if you see a problem, You're most likely going to have to fix it in some way like this. But yeah, it is what it is. The Anubises, though, should make stone digging a lot simpler, and we already have 200. Paldium fragments, then we can get Gigaspheres up and running. They've already actually made them. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at what we need to actually make that single-shot rifle. We need polymers. Now, polymers are made from high-quality pal oil. Do we have enough? No, we need 10. We have 6. So what I'm thinking we're going to do instead is just take all of our gunpowder and make refined ingots, make rifle ammo. Rifle ammo is somewhat high damage single shot weapon, so it's an effective use of our gunpowder. It's a slow way to fight, but as I said, a fairly effective use of the cheap gunpowder itself. I think we'll bring these cakes over to the breeding farm, and I'll go over what I mean by we need to kind of capture pals with better base stats, or base skills. Now, usually when you restart your server, your pals will be unassigned from their working conditions. The Celery, remember that it worked here? This one did not. And I'm pretty sure the Tombat and the... Yeah, as you can see, the Tombat and the Anubis both forgot that they were working at the breeding farm. So you're going to have to, in most cases, reapply them. It's just the way the game works, unfortunately. And it can be a bit of a chore to do this. It's not always that they do get unassigned, but it is fairly often. But I believe the latest patch kind of fixed this too now, because now the pals won't actually leave to, say, go get... they won't need food, basically, when they're in the breeding. I chucked you in the wrong place. Chucked you a little bit too early, but yeah. They won't need food anymore in the breeding pen. So you can kind of keep them there for ever, if you will. But yeah, as you can see here, this guy doesn't have anything positive. Work Slave is the only positive for that one. Tombat has Swift, the Anubis has Runner. That's the only real positive for those two. And honestly, we already have a couple of Swift Runners, but I'd like a female Landworm with Swift and Runner to just make my life a little bit simpler. Let's go ahead and steal a few berries here since we are hungry. But yeah, that's going to be the goal here, to find a few better pals to kind of put into our workforce. To probably also go ahead and get a few better pals here for the ranches. We have already started the wool production here in anticipation of needing to get high quality cloth. So we'll have to see exactly how this turns out. But yeah, I'd like to condense a Mozzarella, a Chickipi, the bee guards. But to get that going, we're going to need more of them for one. And we'd like to breed or get a few that has beneficial traits. Now, it isn't actually that important for ranch animals to have beneficial traits, because anything that increases work speed doesn't actually work for a ranch animal. Instead, you would like things like Diet Lover, basically anything that lowers their sanity loss, anything that lowers their food requirements instead. So we don't really need to breed a perfect ranch animal, because it won't affect any of their drops. They'll still be dropping about the same amount of stuff. So what we could do is just capture a bunch of them and try and condense them to at least 3 stars, which would require, basically, well, not 3 star, 2 stars, I guess is better, which would require 20 of each. So that could be what we do today as another side quest, but I think for the time being, we are going to head over to the area over here. We are going to be looking for a few Relaxosauruses and see if we can get the pal oil that we do need to get the single shot rifle up and running. I'm thinking too now that with our better spheres, we can start fighting pals like Bronze Cherry here for experience, although it does hit fairly hard. You can see that kind of on the Vanworm there, because we're using the lower level one. But it shouldn't be a problem to, well, start capturing higher level pals for experience. And I think that is enough. You can come back. Green one is actually enough for this, because capture rate is still fairly decent. But do keep in mind, there is currently a bit of a problem with the game in terms of capture rate. And that is that people are saying that the effigies right now lower capture rate instead of increasing it. So that could be a bit of a problem. But I don't think it's anything that is going to affect us too harshly at the moment, because we haven't leveled up our effigies too much. So we're kind of safe still. But yeah, getting Relaxosauruses is kind of why we're here. So let's get onto that. Apparently I did get the right one out, I just kind of ignored it. And we're going to call you back until we catch this Relaxosaurus. Don't know why my language is half and half at the moment, but it is. So yeah, we might be able to snatch a rib bunny too. I don't know if we've caught enough of these, to be honest, but doesn't hurt to try and check, basically. There we go. Maybe not. There we are again. Apparently there's some fighting going off by camp as well. Rib bunnies, we need one more, so that was actually a good catch. But yeah. I'll keep on roaming, we'll capture a few more Relaxosauruses. We'll get that last rib bunny, which is actually right here. And then we'll hopefully get ourselves a new weapon. And you can actually buy high quality pal oil. There is a merchant in the desert by the southern coast. There's a bit of a village there that does actually sell. That was not intended to be a headshot. That does actually sell high quality pal oil. So it is possible to buy it if you kind of need it like that. So there are different sources to acquire it. It's different pals that acquire it. But in our case here, we're just being a bit lazy by going for Laxosauruses because it's 2-in-1. Since we're also aiming at getting one with better stats for breeding a working Anubis. So that is why we're here, instead of going to the basically center desert to look for it. We also have the Syndicate Crusher. I think that's a Dazzy, which means that we're gonna definitely want to break in and get it. And the Crusher has already noticed us, so let's go ahead and get this fighting up and running. I do not need to be cleaned. But yeah, we're kind of leaving everything to the awhile at the moment. I don't even know where he is. This angle works. Kind of cheesy, but also kind of good. So, yeah, height advantage definitely works against the Syndicate guys. And we do want to try and get their Axosaurus in base afterwards. But as you can see, they are mostly upset with me rather than the awhile. These guys are actually fairly strong, so let's switch out for Yomentide, who is one of the stronger pals with the exception of legendaries. But it does need a lot of space to fight, which is kind of a weakness right here. So let's see if we can actually remember to toast this Syndicate Crusher man. Like so. There we are. And here we see the Relaxosaurus eating the rib bunny, and apparently this guy has been eaten by the wall. So he's kind of a safe one. Are you two stuck? I hate the Grenadiers, they just do so much damage. And if you aren't aware of them, you're just gonna get destroyed easily. But yeah, Relaxosaurus is having dinner in the sense that he's eating. Oh, that was a little bit too hard. But yeah, full quality pal oil there. We'll take that. And we'll release the Dazzy, which should give us a little bit more experience. But as I mentioned earlier, before we got into the whole debacle, I'll go ahead and roam a little bit more, capture a few more Relaxosauri, and maybe a few Cellerates. We'll have to see. We have kind of gotten the pal oil that we needed, so we might head back, make the rifle, and then work from there. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're currently back at base here, having a look at what we kind of caught and also what we hatched, and we only got one Relaxosaurus, so I guess I made a mistake, or it got popped in somewhere else here. I haven't noticed, but the Relaxosaurus is a ferocious one, which is good. We did get a couple of bronze cherries, which is also good for experience, the Datsy, the 2 rib bunnies, and I also picked up some Mozzarinas on the way back, because as I said, we do want to condense them into higher star ones, because that will drop more resources, but a ferocious Relaxosaurus, that is not bad. And as you can see, yeah, Anubis has gone ahead and crafted us the single-shot rifle, which is actually going to replace the pistol. We haven't really used the pistol much. It is a good gun, but it really starts to shine once you get the kind of legendary blueprint for it, which of course we don't have at the moment. Next up, I think what we are going to do is go back to kind of adventuring, but we'll see if we can find a poor sword here that can be used for target practice, because this thing is really good. It reloads fairly quick, does a lot of damage, and it's going to make capturing pals a lot simpler, let's just put it like that. So I'm thinking, because at the moment what we kind of need everything to do is just, well, honestly, what we should do here is actually head back, see if we can replace the gluttonous one back at the breeding camp. Because what I'm thinking that we just do now is just run around, get to 38, and then we'll make some decisions from there in terms of trying to get our hands on better pals for breeding. I think that is going to pay off in dividends. So Relaxosaurus here is a male. This too is a male, so we are definitely going to go ahead and replace it. Even though Ferocious isn't really a work trait, it is an attack trait, and it's a good one, so there's no reason not to pick it up while we can. We'll also bring these eggs back. We currently don't have any cakes in these, so they will not be producing any more eggs for the time being. That is fine, because we're going to kind of slow things down just a little bit in order to find pals with better starting points. Because now that we have the pals that we kind of wanted, we are going to start breeding for skills or passives rather than just purely, getting the pals themselves. Because the pals themselves are great. They turn absolutely amazing with the correct passives attached as well. So that's kind of what we're doing. That is the idea, at least, if you will. So yeah, we'll deal with that. But for now, level 38, then condense some Chickipis, some Mozzarinas, some bee guards, and I think that should be an acceptable way of doing things. So what I am thinking is that we are gonna start off over by Hypocrite Hill, but we might as well just take a look at the Paldeck here where we're at. And I think we have already done a lot of the basic pals. We do need more pancakes, which means that doing the boss day is also good. Do we need to get more resources, or rather more ancient tech? So it's not a bad idea to go for them. Got Noxus, got the Fuddlers, Killamari, Mao, Chris. So most of these pals we're kind of done with the starting area, is what I'm getting at. But yeah, we have a lot of work ahead of us, honestly. So for now, I'm thinking again that we do go to the Hypocrite Hill, this area. We start moving north while clearing, quote unquote, clearing pals. We might do the same over here. We might also go and pick up Fenglope, because Fenglope is another one of those super amazing pals for a ground pal, basically incredible. But I think we're going to test out the gun right now on Penking over here. And I think he will be a decent enough test subject. But as you can see, we're going to have to wait in half an hour for that. So maybe not. But yeah, let us head out. Let's get a few more pals. Let's look for pals with better traits. I do, as I said, want to level up to 38 first, so that we can move a little bit quicker with the Polaris. Hello, boys. Nice to see you. But yeah, as you can see, this thing is pretty powerful, particularly against humans. Reloads relatively quick as well, and once something is a low HP, we just switch to crossbow. Conserve ammunition. But yeah, that should be good enough. We also have some Gale Claws here being a bit annoying. And as you can see, this thing does huge amounts of damage, so you kind of do one. Then you want to switch over to your crossbow, if I can find it. And then we capture from there. But with that in mind, it's still going to be a little bit rough. Gale Claws can also be fairly amazing in terms of getting a move on, if you will. But right now, there's a little bit too many different actors in the area, if you will. We have the Floopy being involved. We have the Free Pal boys being involved. And we have even more Free Pals being involved right now. I think we're going to run away. But we did get a couple of Gale Claws there, which is going to help with experience. I would like to get a couple of Floopies. Basically, we're just here now to level up. Power level, if you will. So I am perfectly content with the situation. Yeah. I'm just going to run around here, get a little bit of that done. Robin Quill, which can be dangerous to deal with. I think we'll be fine. I missed. One of the higher level pals in this area. That's not how we hit things. There we go. And we are using the green balls right now, but honestly, we can just start using Gigaspheres to speed things along there. And as you can see, that does increase our capture rate tremendously, so we should be using those. But yeah, gonna take advantage of the night right now, run around this area, capture the pals that we haven't yet, and then we'll go over them once we come back to base. So we've done a lot of capturing, and we've actually filled up the box, which is why the pal spear is on the ground here, and we can't actually pick it up. We are very close to level 38, so we've actually done a bunch of good work here, but what we're going to have to do now is just head back to base, have a bit of a look at what we have captured, and also clean up the, well, the storage box a little bit. But honestly, so far, I feel like we've done a decent job. We have almost levels up to 38. It didn't actually take that long. But we are going to have to make more ammunition. We have used up every single one of our rifle shots. So we are going to be heading out, most likely, to have a look at some sulfur. And there are a few places where we can find large amounts of sulfur. I'm probably just going to manually mine it other than setting up a base. But if we take a quick look here at the pal box, you can see that we just started catching some gobfins. We did catch some robin quills, which, well, basically allows you to do more weak point damage. They're not bad. Level 2 transporting, handiwork, gathering. They're not bad for the base either. Cinnamots, good for planting and medicine. And, well, does apply poison. Bristlers, increase attack power of grass pals while in a team. Also very good at medicine. Is there anything else? We have Floopy, who appears near the player, basically collects items for you. And Galeclaw, who is basically a glider. One of the fastest gliders you can get, mind you. We also found a couple of Loopmons, which are nighttime pals out of a higher level. They can do handiwork only, so they can be basically an early Anubis if you don't want to breed one. Cataras as well is a very good early game pal that you can find at night to handiwork, medicine, and transporting. Basically, just a little bit better of a Livemon, and also neutral path for more items when defeated. So you can use it for farming purposes as well. But yeah, that's basically what we've been doing. Gale Claws, Floopies, kind of caught up a bunch of these. So what we're going to do now is actually, I think, head to a trader and sell off the ones that we don't want. Although condensing is kind of good. We're probably not going to be using anything that we condense at this point because we do want to, well, develop the pals a little bit more before we end up using them. So we're going to go ahead and clean out the pal box a little bit by just selling the excess pals to a trader. It's either that or butchering them. And honestly, butchering the amount of pals that we would have to do to get this done is going to take forever. So I'm just going to go through this. If we see perks that we don't care for, we are going to just very simply sell them like this. So I'll clear this up. We'll have to see just how much of a sale list we end up with. But I would assume that it's going to be quite a long one. So yeah, this could be a very, very interesting list, I guess you could say, by the end. But there are a lot of pals that we don't really have a use for, other than breeding. And if they don't have any good passive skills, we might as well just go out and catch some new ones, because a lot of these are easy to kind of reacquire, is what I'm trying to say. Pals that are harder to acquire, we're probably going to keep, even if they don't have any particularly good passives, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'll go through this list. We'll clear out the ones that we kind of don't feel like we need right now, and then we'll see what we're left with. So I think this will do it for the initial cleaning. It's kind of hard to see it because we can't really scroll, but you can see down here that we are clearing out quite a bit of our early game pals. I did kind of stop here and accelerate. I'm a little bit unsure if we want to condense them in the future, so I'm just not gonna go ahead and sell them already. But we are going to be selling worth 36,000 gold, so that should be fine. And this does kind of throw a wrench into it, but it's 36,000, not 360. And I'm honestly fine with that. It should clear up some space in the pal box. We could just rebuy the pal from here, but you can also go and pick up the sphere in the world. It actually shows up as a red cross mark. So don't be concerned if you get that one drop. You don't need to buy back from a merchant. You can if you want to make your life a little bit easier, but you can also just go back there and pick it up manually. So no real problem. And once again, all of these here that are basically just selling to a merchant. And with that, we actually have some money now. So if we wish, we could start buying some of the components for making cakes to kind of speed up production. But honestly, once we hit 38, I think we're gonna spend probably an hour or two just traversing the map and kind of just condensing up a few cows, bees, and chickens in order to kind of speed up the cake production for the future. We do have some cakes already done. We actually have 8 cakes already done. So it's not something that we need to do immediately, but at the same time, it would be something that would be nice to get done. We've also picked up a bit of an egg here at the very least. We're also gonna, of course, be making more spheres. We actually used almost 100. We had, I think, 105 once we headed out. We have quite a fewer right now. And we're gonna go ahead and just make another 90, but honestly, we could go ahead and just make 181 green ones, because as I said, we're probably gonna head out right now and get some cow hunting going. But at the same time too, what we're actually going to do before that is get some sulfur, because we have ran out of ammunition, and having ammunition for this thing would be rather beneficial. So we'll drop by for starters just to the mining base to see what if they've done anything. It could be that they are slacking. I kind of hope they aren't, but we'll see. It does seem to be somewhat slacking here. Now we still have a decent amount of well, it's nothing major. Like, I'll be able to make 70 ingots while using 180. So it's a net negative, all things considered. But it's also not terrible, basically, here. So we'll go ahead and make some more basic ingots. Already they made 145 green spheres. As I said, we are going to be hunting Chickipis. We're going to be hunting some Mozzarinas and the bees. Bees probably going to need the yellow spheres more than the green ones. But again, honey lasts forever. The other resources here do degrade. Getting a freeze up and running could also be beneficial, because we aren't actually using all the slots at the moment. But if we take a quick look here, we've made up a lot of space now that we can then work with. Now I'm thinking that we're going to go ahead and head back to Goblin's Turf here, or Hypocrite Hill. We're going to pick up that Gobfin of ours. And if we can, we might go ahead here and fight, say, this Grintail. That wouldn't be a terrible idea. Because that should level us up to next level, 38. Should make our life a little bit simpler. And Grintail is something that you usually only find at night, so why not take advantage of running into one to try and capture it. And that went pretty painlessly, so far I might add. There is a Catras over there too. But honestly, I'd like to get my weapon back up to... Did you just burn? Okay. That's sad. We also have a health stiff here. But I think we're going to try and get those Catras first. But yeah, the fact that we kind of got screwed over a little bit there by the fire is unfortunate. But it is also kind of what you expect. That was a terrible shot. That is a bit of a scary attack, but I think this should allow us to get the Catras, hopefully without it dying this time. Then we can head back. I think it'll survive another shot if it breaks out again, so just upping our chances slightly. But yeah, I kind of forgot why we were here. We're basically here just for that Gobfin. That is the wrong pal, but yeah, Catras is here. Level 38, we can now get the new saddle up and running. And with that, we should have no problems with moving around in the near future. Now, this Vanbum here with Runner and Swift is pretty quick, don't get me wrong. But Phalaris is going to be even quicker with the same 2 perks. So there is a reason why we want to get that one up and running. It's going to be the quickest pal you can, air pal at least, that you can get before Jet Dragoon. And also, just a bit of a heads up. Ragnarok can be incredibly good to have as well, so we're probably going to make one. And what I mean by this is Ragnarok can actually move pretty freely inside of dungeons, meaning that you can kind of ride it all the way to the boss. Just makes speedrunning dungeons a lot easier. So we'll be breeding a Ragnarok too over the course of this series. But yeah, we have gotten the 2 levels that I wanted, and it went actually pretty quickly and painlessly. We can now make refined metal armor, a refined metal helm, the Ragnarok saddle, and the Phalaris saddle. So we might go for both of these. You can also get refrigerators and lettuce plantations. Do we have the tomato one? Yes, we can now make tomato and lettuce if we feel the need, basically as a better pal food. But don't get me wrong, the berries do the job just fine. It's if you have pals that require a lot of eating. I'm just wondering, I'll bring this along, thermal undershirt, and I'll head over to the area where we can do a lot of mining. I also do need to get the Palgear workbench up and running again, so yeah. Hopefully we have enough. Yeah, we can just cancel these for now. That did make me overweight. But it is gonna allow me to build that workbench. So let's get that done. It should be quite expensive to make the saddles, to be fair too. But I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see here. I'll take the berry seeds here and put over in one of these chests. Also get the refined metal chests too. They're gonna be a little bit bigger in terms of their what they can hold. And once we get them, we're gonna kind of clean up a little bit here. But for now, let's get Anubis on the job. And see, we don't have the refined metal yet, but as you can see, the Anubis is a little bit quicker than me. Polaris, we're lacking 4 Paldeon fragments, so I'm gonna get them and get the saddle made. So we got the extra blue space that we needed to get this done. And as you can see, Anubis is crafting the Polaris saddle rather rapidly. Honestly, at this point though, Polaris is not going to be a lot quicker than Vanvam until we get the correct perks on it. But it's still going to be quicker. I believe Vanvam has 870, that is the wrong key, 875 as its base, with an additional 50%, brings it close, but even just running here on Polaris is going to make it quicker. And once we get Swift as well in the future, it is going to be a lot quicker. The only problem is, of course, that this bird is fairly large, so can't work in dungeons. It's not the best base working bird. Basically, Phalaris and Ragnarok kind of do the same job in that regard. So getting a Ragnar for base work is probably the better option, but Phalaris is going to be slightly quicker to move around on. And as you can see, they do the exact same job. But yeah, let's see here. What did I want to do next? Probably head back to the breeding camp, see how things are there. I don't think we actually changed anything since last time we were here. Do need to pick these up though. I don't really have any pals that can do it. And sorry for the noise. But yeah, I need to stop by here like every day or so just to pick up loot. I feel like this is just more effective than have a pal do it. Pal just can't keep up with the number of things that drop. And there we are, 110. So it's still going to take it forever to get enough wool to make large beds for everyone. But I do believe that we're just going to hatch the eggs that we have. And probably at this point start getting the Vanvam up and running rather than the Tombats. But I don't think I have any other Anubis with Runner. Do I have a Vanvam with Runner and Swift? Yes. Do I have a female Anubis? I do. So we could switch the Anubises out. And I think that's actually what we're going to do. We're going to do it like this. And we're going to take this Anubis. And we're just going to chuck it into the breeding farm. And then we're going to take that male Vanvam with the 2 speed traits. If we can find them. Let's see. This one. Just going to double check if we have any better ones. Doesn't really look like it. Swift Runner, Sadist, Hydromaniac. Honestly, I think just going with this one is going to be better. So let's just pick this up and we'll go get the cakes and we'll get some Phalarises made. Of course, these won't be perfect. They'll be missing Nimble, but Nimble is 10%. Getting that extra 50% is going to be a lot more important, particularly early game, than, well, I still call it early game. We've been playing this for a few hours already. But you get the idea. Getting a Phalaris with plus 50% speed is going to be much more important than that last 10%. And then we can probably breed in Nimble once we go fetch a legend for that additional 15% as well. So that's what I'm thinking. But the breeding here is never going to end. We're going to be trying to make, as I said, kind of perfect base pals, perfect mounts, kind of perfect everything. So it's going to be a long, very, very long process. Okay, before we head out to look for, as I said, more chickens, more bees, and more sulfur, that too, I think we're going to have a look at the upstairs here and see where we're looking. So we still have a lot of time left on these rocky eggs. So we have been using our time efficiently. Mosander, new pal. Swift, not bad. Mosander is actually a good pickup from these eggs. We also got a Dinosaur. Got a Lunaris, that is actually really good. I'll have a look at these in just a second. And what else do we have here? We have the common egg. And also the dark egg. Grintail. So yeah, we're getting, apparently the experience that I was worried about, we can actually just pick up from here. If we have any extra eggs, we do. Let's go ahead and just put all these into the incubators. It's no good to just leave them out in the open. But I probably wanted to show them off before I put them in, I think is my mentals on that one. But yeah, putting these eggs in, we're going to allow them to incubate. We're going to go clean up our inventory, and then I'll head out to the sulfur spot where you can easily gather as much sulfur really as you kind of want. In order to head to the sulfur area here, we're actually going to need a little bit of better armor here. So we have changed out our metal armor for a heat resistant version. And if we slap on the cold here as well, we now have basically very good defenses about, well, against both the cold and also the hot here. And just to be clear, this is cloth armor, legendary cloth armor schematic that we picked up. Nothing that's going to really benefit us at this point. But the sulfur area that we want to go to is basically deep within the volcanic area. So we are going to head over there immediately. And the volcano is kind of a higher leveled area where most pals will be 30 to 40, which means that they can be kind of difficult to contend with. So having a flying mount can make your life a lot simpler. And of course, we are going to be picking up the eggs that we find on the way because these can, well, turn into new pals. So you also want to pick up chests. As you can see, these ones have hyperspheres in them. And you can see there's a bunch of scattered sulfur nodes here. But we do want to make our life a little bit earlier in the future. And to do that, we're going to be heading up towards the tower up on top of the mountain. Because up there is a fairly decent place where we can, well, put down, well, not really put down anything, but there is a fairly decent sulfur place up there. Sorry, I'm stumbling. There is an incredibly good sulfur space up there next to a fast travel point, which means that you fast travel there once a day, you pick up sulfur, then you head back, which of course makes it very, very easy to farm, but there's nothing that stops you from just going to that base point, teleporting in here, and picking up the sulfur rocks that you can see. There's a lot of them around here, so farming sulfur is actually incredibly simple. You'll be finding manworms, you'll be finding vixen, which is basically another version of Catras. They are incredibly similar. You'll find the fanatic purifiers, if you want to call them that. You can kind of call them whatever you want. And there are kind of legit paths to climbing up the mountain, but with a good air mount, I just recommend going straight up. And also, if you're struggling to find a good ore base, there is actually one right here. It does have some spawns, but at the same time, Vixen isn't really aggressive, I believe, so you'll be safe here. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead here and climb that mountain, and then we'll see exactly where the sulfur area is. So yeah, here we are. As you can see, this is right next to the boss tower. We have the TP over here, and along the edges here of the volcanic, well, hole, the volcano itself, there is a large amount of ore. Now, the best way to do this is probably to bring a dig toys, but is, as you can see here, right next to the Tower of Brothers of Eternal Pyre. A bunch of these nodes. And with the fast travel, it's going to make your life a little bit easier, but we're just going to manually mine it for now. And I probably should go ahead and upgrade my pickaxe to a refined metal one. I don't think I've done that yet, so we'll try and get that done before the next trip. But for now, I'm just going to gather some of this sulfur manually, and once I've done that, we'll head back. So here we go. We mined 320 sulfur, which is a decent amount for just a very quick trip next to a TP. There's also some eggs here that we can pick up, both inside the volcano itself and also along the edge. So we'll of course pick up these eggs. There's nothing that really stops us from doing so. And we'll also go ahead and just snatch this Lithmunk effigy. Now, birds can actually hover above this with no problems whatsoever. So you are fine if you fall in this, provided you have a flying pal to kind of help you. But yeah, it's probably not recommended to go bathing in there. You will catch on fire. But yeah, with this, our sulfur worries for the foreseeable future has been solved. We can now go ahead and get this get the sulfur made into charcoal. And also, I think we are going to go ahead and, as I said, upgrade our pickaxe in particular here to a refined metal one, because that's just going to make mining in the future a lot simpler. I think I'm also going to go ahead in technology and get a few other things, which is a small feed bag. And we're going to upgrade that into the average feed bag. Now, getting a grappling gun would probably be very beneficial as well, but honestly, it's not something too major to me. The feed bag, on the other hand, is kind of nice because it does allow you to, well, automatically eat. So, as you can imagine, it can be quite a nice boon to, you know, get food automated. And we're just going to immediately turn all of this sulfur into gunpowder, so that is good. See, the feed bag, I don't remember exactly where you make it. Might be that I'm just misremembering. I might need to actually make a workbench to make that one, because I couldn't see it here on this one. But we'll allow the gunpowder to get crafted and get ourselves some more bullets, and then we shall make a decision from there. But I do also need to do this. Chuck the old pick into just a chest. I'm a hoarder. I will take old gear and just chuck it into whatever chest is available. It is a bad habit of mine. And we'll also chuck in the eggs. We'll chuck in the big egg. And we'll also go ahead and see what the incubators have to hold for us here. Bandworm, Runner Swift. Kind of what we already have been making. A Swift one. Not too good. Honestly, again, we're just trying to breed for the perks. And a Nightwing. We actually need one more of those. I didn't realize. But yeah. That is good. Let us see here what we kind of need. But yeah, I'm going to allow this craft to finish and maybe just go ahead and make the workbench again. Let's see here. Where is it? The high quality workbench. And just see if it's here. I think that might just be what we have to do. So it is here, the average feed bag, but I might just be blind, so who knows. I'm also going to go ahead probably and finally get a shield going. I probably have been yelled at quite a bit for not getting a shield. It's just me being lazy. So for now, we'll just go ahead and pick up the common one. The shield is basically going to keep me alive a little bit longer. Hopefully. We have gotten the gunpowder crafted, and we're going to have quite a bit of it here. So we're just going to go ahead and make some more rifle ammo. I'm also going to head in and order some more megaspheres, because as I did mention earlier, what the next order of business is going to be in order to make life easier in the future is actually going to be to just head out and capture some chickipis for, well, condensing. We're going to be capturing some cows for condensing, and we're going to be capturing some bees for condensing in order to kind of improve our production of honey, milk, and, well, anything else there. Now, we are probably also going to start kind of getting rid of the alpacas, but as you can see, we have a lot of flour already available. So in terms of cake production here, what we're actually lacking isn't really... It's basically just, again, eggs for the most part. So connecting the chickpeas is probably going to help out a bit of that. We could, of course, put more chickpeas to work, but I think just condensing it to at least level 3, let's face it, capturing 100 or so chickens, it's not really going to be too difficult. And I was wondering if Battalion was trap for a second, but no, she's harvesting, so it should be good. But yeah, I think that is going to be, again, just the best way to progress here. We are progressing rapidly, don't get me wrong. We are basically in mid to late game already. Now we can just start to kind of play the game as we want. We did have one of the goals to get all creatures within the Paldeck. We are still going to do that. But the easiest way to get that done is to have a base that is running very, very well, where mining gets done quickly, where we have an abundance of resources. And the best way to get that done is to have very, very well-bred base pals. So we are going to breed a few Ragnarhawks, both for kind of cooking and everything. And we're also going to be breeding a few other pals to, well, kind of help us out. But yeah, that is going to be in the future. We might also take Battalia here and try and breed a Lylene, which is basically a third evolution, if you will, which is going to make things a little bit more efficient. But yeah, for now, get the Megaspheres done, get the rifle ammo done, and then I'm just going to head out and get some chickens. And the next step we're probably going to be doing is condensing those chickens. So the Chickipi farming has gone well. As you can see here, I probably did go a little bit overboard. We basically have 3 pages for to translate into one fully 4-star Chickipi, potentially. But yeah, I did go a little bit overboard. Just put on a show on the side and ran around capturing Chickipis for probably around an hour. The Anubis here have done a great job over here at the mining base. We have about 400 coal and ore that we're going to be taking the opportunity to bring him back home. But yeah, we have been basically running in circles, capturing quite a lot of chickens. And these chickens will be... They will be repurposed, if you will. I also had to go for a little while, which is since I've just logged back in. So let us get back in here with the base pals. So I want to have a little bit of a look here at what Chickipis are the best. So honestly, we're going to go and have a look at the ones that are already put in the farm, because I would assume those have some perks that we're looking for. Musclehead and Sirius. So Sirius doesn't work. So honestly, this Chickipi is not beneficial to have in the farm at all. As I said here, the work speed perks do not have any effect on how quickly pals produce resources in the ranch. Their partner skill leveling up, however, in this case the egg layer does, so do keep that in mind. Now, what we're going to be looking for here is probably something like Diet Lover. We are looking for, well, it doesn't eat much to begin with, but either Diet Lover or something that prevents the loss of sanity. Generally, it's going to be good here. It's not going to be running around a lot. Again, Artisan won't have any effect here. So let's see what we have. I don't think we have anything with particularly good perks that I remember picking up. I honestly think the best we can do here is either a Diet Lover or a Workaholic. Unfortunately, I can't see exactly... Ow, I bit my tongue. Can't see exactly what the Workaholic does, but I think that would be better for a chicken that only has one anyways. Losing less sanity. And that does kind of seem to be the best option that we have here, just going through it very, very quickly. Also another musclehead. Yeah, definitely seems to be the best option. So we might as well just 4-star that chicken for the time being. And again, chickens are easy to find, so I don't really have any particular concerns about 4-starring a chicken. It's not going to cause me any particular pain. It's okay. We did end up wasting a little bit of time because we're going to have to catch more. But honestly, it's probably going to save us more time to just get this one to 4-star, even though it's, again, potentially not the best one that we have available to us. But it'll be good enough. I do want to save like a Musclehead series one. Could be good to save at least one runner, one Swift. You get the idea. Save chickens that have beneficial perks like Artisan and Burly, potentially. So we'll be a little bit careful in what we're picking here now, so that we can save a few of them. But even then, we do still have a ton to pick up. And Vanguard is basically a skill that boosts the player damage, so nothing too serious. I don't know if we actually have enough chickens here to get to 4 stars without sacrificing probably more than what we'd like. So we'll have to see here if we can get a 4-star chicken. Because it would be nice to kind of have one, honestly. I do like to have the passive skills here available. We already saved a runner, but as you can see, we're not really gonna meet the quota. If you already have a runner, swift, serious, die lover, burly, don't need 2 swift ones, so let's do it like that. And musclehead, serious, runner. This is one of those. Yeah, we're lacking 14 chickens, so I'm gonna go ahead and get those last 14 or so chickens, and we'll go ahead and condense a 4-star one to just speed up, as I said, production a little bit. On our journey here, we've actually found a Gamos, and I'm scared that if I hit him, he's actually going to die. So we might as well go ahead and use one of the yellow spheres, which is a 70% on the back. And I think that should be hopefully enough to capture him here, and it is. We've been using green spheres on the chickens to just chuck it at them without really damaging them, because I don't really have any easy way to damage these guys without killing them. So what I've basically just been doing here is flying around with Polaris like this, chucking balls at them, and it has worked extremely well in just capturing these chickens. But yeah, I'm gonna head back to base now. We're gonna condense a 4-star one, and while it arguably would be more effective to have a 2 3-star ones, I'm also gonna most likely go ahead and either condense cremisses or melpacas in order to up the wool production. So there are a few reasons why I've decided to just get a level 4 chicken right away. It's going to save us time in the future. That is at least my main reason, but of course it's cool to have basically 4-star branch beasts, because again, the higher the star, the higher the partner skill, the more you get from each drop, and thus the more efficiently you're going to be able to get resources. Is this a bit of an expensive waste of the balls? Probably. I could always go around and slap them with, say, a stone spear, but I think this is just as well effective. We have the mining base up and running, it's running well, so I don't think we should complain too much about the current situation. But yeah, base down here has produced a lot. We've stopped by just a little bit earlier, 564 wool. So as you can imagine here, we're getting closer to also having enough wool to make, well, all the high quality clothing that we need. So honestly, melpacas, they aren't going to be a long-term project because we aren't going to be needing a huge amount. But, well, in this case, we have 12 huge scorching eggs. So we do want to bring back as many of those as we can and put in the incubator. So let's just get that two out of the way. But we're going to head back. We're going to put these eggs in the incubator. We're going to probably open the Anubises that we have made, because they should be ready too. So there is actually a lot of things going on which do kind of throw me for a little bit of a loop here. But yeah, honestly, I've also figured out something new. If you press R on a chest, I actually misclicked at one point. If you press R on a chest, it's going to take whatever is already in that chest. And let's say that you have a chest with wood. If you press R while opening a chest with wood, it's going to take whatever is in your inventory and put it into the chest. So in this case, I'm taking half of some of the stuff here. We press R, it gets teleported into the chest. Makes your life a lot easier. And I really wish that I'd figured that out sooner, honestly. I think we can, yeah, we have enough resources here that we can take the flour that we have gotten made over here, cook some more cakes. And honestly, getting Ragnarok leveled up too could be a good idea. But 19 cakes now, that should make our life a lot easier. So, might just be that I didn't need to really upgrade the chicken much. It could have been just that I needed to kind of stay in that area. But it is what it is. It is still okay. Let's take the wheat that we have and turn it into flour immediately. That should be fine. And as I said, while having Yeoman tied to do cooking tasks can be good, I think it's better that we breed, say, Ragnarhawks for cooking. I think that's going to benefit us more in the long run. Also did pick up some more skill fruits, which is always nice, but it's not really a huge deal. We also did find a tropical outfit schematic, which is not great either. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. And our Anubises are actually ready. So let's check in the basic eggs over here. Well, basic, the lower leveled eggs. And we'll take a look at these ones first. If there's any good Leaf Spunk Ignis, that's a little bit of experience. We'll take that. Another Leaf Spunk. Serious this time. That's at least good. and a Kelpsie Ignis. All of these are decent enough on their own. Huge Rocky Egg here, clumsy. Not the best Anubis we could have gotten. Heated Body Abnormal, Glutton Unstable. Yeah, not good that one either. Work Slave, at least that is a good trait, but we're going to have to breed that one, breed that Glutton and Clumsy. So even though we're getting Anubises now, as I kind of said here, it would have been better for us probably to take it a little bit slower, get some better perks, but Anubis himself is alone just amazing, so it's not the worst thing we've ever done, honestly. But yeah, these Anubi is going to make life a little bit easier, particularly the work slave ones. It's not a huge boost into work speed. The best would be to get Artisan, Serious, you know, a few of the other things, but it's going to be good enough for now. Well, we even got a Bushi from that egg, and we also got a Vixen. So, all in all, these eggs have actually been fairly good. So what we're going to do here is, of course, put in all of these new huge scorching eggs. We're going to go get some new ones. Well, get the other ones, basically. But before we do that, I want to go ahead here and condense the chicken. So I'm just going to get that done very, very quickly. And here we are, what is going to be our first level 4 pal. And a little bit interesting here with 4-starring pals is that you see that their skills you also level up. So, for instance, he levels up to 2 in farming, 2 in harvesting. So you can actually 4-star pals, like say level 3 pals, to turn them into level 4 work pals. And that is might be actually what we do with the Ragnarhawks to get smaller pals that can do firework inside. So it's actually quite an interesting mechanic. I don't think we've really covered much, but that'll probably be covering in the future. So we'll go through that. We are going to be using the pals assassin. Condensation has been completed, and through the noble sacrifice, we now have a super chicken that is going to be creating a lot of eggs for us. So that is great. Let's just go ahead, go back to the base, put him to work, and we're also going to be picking up the other eggs here. You'll really have some interesting sleeping stances. There we go. That's a lot better. But yeah, as I said here, we are going to put in that chicken to produce eggs for us. And there we are. We're probably going to do the same here with, as I said, the mozzarella. We do have a couple here. One is already started once. We want to probably start off the B-Guard a little bit, but that one is, again, one of the harder ones to do because the base version is higher level, around level 20. We could breed it, of course. But as I say, we now have a bunch of fairly decent chickens here that we could potentially use to breed up Artisan and some of the other work skills if we really, really want to. But now, though, I think getting, again, just the Phalaris with Swift as well as Runner is going to be the priority. But at the same time, I do kind of believe that one of these 12 eggs that we have should be enough once they actually hatch to give us that. And also with the Relaxosaurus and the Celery here, I think it would be beneficial for us to go and look for other options. But I think I do still want to get the cows maybe done before we leave it for today. But at the moment, we had 19 of the cakes up and running yet. 23 actually. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to be the best option here. What would be the most efficient way of going forwards? I do kind of want to again just level up the cows because I find it interesting. But at the same time, it might not be the best way to kind of progress. But again, that's the kind of beauty with this game. There's so many different ways you can get progression going. So you kind of have to make your own choices regarding that situation. And in our case here, we're just going to get some more ingots made. We haven't really used any ammunition yet, so once we head out to level, that is going to be good. But I think, again, that what our priority should be is to get some good Anubises up and running, as that's going to make life a lot simpler later on. Get some good Ragnarhawks up and running, as that's going to help our smelting and to some degree transfer problems being solved. Ragnarhawk is a little bit of a bigger one though, so it's not going to completely solve any problem that we have. Still going to be a little bit of problem with their movement, if you will. But even then, I think we'll be fine. So I'm not too concerned. Let's just put it like that. I feel like we've gotten a lot done yet here today, even though we haven't really done much. We've kind of leveled up a little bit. We've dealt with some chickens. And basically, again, I do believe that the chicken problem now is kind of solved for eternity. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So I do feel it's good. And Ragnarhawk here is just melting things incredibly quick. Megaspheres, probably do need some more of these yellow spheres if we are going to head out and do some more farming. So, could be that if we really want to power level, that having to farm save would be beneficial to us. But honestly, at the moment, as I said here, I think going for some more Relaxosaurii, going for some more Cellerays in order to make better Anubises now that we have them, and that we now have a stable supply of iron, I think that's going to be more beneficial for our long-term prosperity. Because again, Anubises can be used to breed a lot of other stuff too, so having a good one to start off with is going to bleed into a lot of the other pals as well. So yeah, let's go hunt some Cellerays, I guess. See if we can get a good one. Unfortunately, while I would love to continue the process right now, I think we're going to have to call it here for today after having called all of the Cellerays here. The Anubis here shouldn't really be here, but we have basically gotten some artisans, some diet lovers, workaholics, work slaves areas. Basically, we kind of set the Cellerays up into 3 groups here: work skills, movement skills, and combat skills. And the goal is going to be simple, that we're going to breed a couple of Cellerays which have hopefully all of these skills for themselves to get those onto an Anubis and then get those onto, well, higher end pals. To do that, we're going to need cakes, and unfortunately, looks like they haven't done much work while I've been away, which is very disappointing. But sometimes it does happen that you just are slightly too far away, and they don't do the work that you'd like them to. But yeah, we're going to have to end it here today. Didn't really get too much done, but honestly, we have leveled up to 38. We have made a super chicken, and at this point, honestly, the series is more going to be focused on breeding for the next few episodes, most likely, due to get the base running perfectly, get everything set up. And then we're probably going to start leveling up again, go for the legendaries, breed legend down onto other pals. So it's maybe not going to be full action here on out, but I'm enjoying the series so far. Hope you have as well. And hope to see you around next time. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.